Greetings, people. This is a video about food in France, and I'm here to tell you that the snozzberries taste like snozzberries. That's something I said a lot when I first moved to France. It comes from that Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka when the kids are licking the wallpaper, and the stuff that they're licking on the wallpaper tastes like what it looks like, and Gene Wilder says, among other things, the snozzberries taste like snozzberries. And when we first moved to France, I discovered new tastes for old fruits and veggies, because the fruits and veggies are not bred to be shipped across a country, to be packaged and transported. The veggies here are bred for taste. So the tomatoes taste like tomatoes, and the zucchini tastes like zucchini, and the melons, it's kind of like a cantaloupe. They don't call it a cantaloupe, they just call it a melon, but it tastes just the way a cantaloupe is supposed to taste. Leaf lettuce. Oh, they don't have iceberg here. We very seldom see an iceberg lettuce here, but we see these marvelous heads of leaf lettuce that are dense and fresh from the field. And that's another thing that's very important about the veggies here in the south of France. You have Spain, France, Italy, Greece, around the Mediterranean to North Africa, Tunisia, and Morocco. The growing season is very long, and that means that you can get fresh veggies just about any time of year. And again, they haven't been transported thousands of miles. Morocco and Tunisia are just a short ferry ride across the Mediterranean. So maybe they'd be transported hundreds of miles, but the point is that they weren't bred to be transported because they're not being transported that far. They're bred for their taste. Now, there are some things that you can't get. You can't get sweet corn here. There's no such thing as sweet corn here. I grew up in northern New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania, and I'm used to that wonderful corn when it comes into season, the Silver Queen and other varieties that just melt in your mouth. They don't have that here. But what they do have in terms of things that melt in your mouth is wonderful French strawberries. When strawberries are in season, there's no other taste like a French strawberry. And they tell you in the supermarkets, they're required to tell you the country of origin. So you know if that strawberry is French or Spanish, and you know if that zucchini is Italian or Moroccan. You know all of that. And country of origin is not just for the veggies. Country of origin is for pretty much any fresh food. The meats, whether if they're packaged, or if they're at the butcher, they tell you what the country of origin is. So you have the choice of, for instance, duck breasts from Bulgaria or duck breasts from France. There's about a €2 difference. Bulgarian is a couple of euros per kilo cheaper. So if it makes a difference, you'll know. And the sale price is the sale price, and it's probably Bulgarian. If it makes a difference to you, you pay the extra price and you buy French. The price of the other stuff, tomatoes, are seldom more than $2 a pound. And I'm talking the equivalent. They're usually less than €4 a kilo, which is 2.2 pounds, which means that they're about $2 a pound when they're in season, and they're in season most of the year. That dense head lettuce that I talked about, leaf lettuce that I talked about, very seldom do you pay more than $1, a quarter, $1.50 a head. So the pricing is also very good. Same with the meats. The meats run in cycles. They do their slaughtering apparently in cycles, so that in the late winter, January and February, you can get a bulk pork for less than $2 a pound. All the cuts. The pork, like the veggies, tastes like pork. The lamb is just exquisite. We had a leg of lamb for Christmas Day, and it's just an exquisite cut of meat. What you can't get here is beef. Beef here is terrible. It's not marbled the way we're used to. It's cut differently, and it's quite chewy. So when you go to a restaurant in France, they quite often offer a menu item literally called steak frites. Steak with French fries, frites. And that steak is usually what's called a bavette. It's kind of thinly sliced. It's chewy, and it's not a lot of fun. We did have a standing rib roast for Christmas Eve, maybe. It was a wonderful piece of meat, and it was good beef, but it cost quite a bit. For us anyway, it cost probably in the neighborhood of $10 a pound, which is not terrible, but it's more than we normally pay for our meat for dinner. So the thing about food in France is that it tastes like it's supposed to taste. It has it's reasonably priced, particularly if you buy locally, particularly if you buy in season. It tells you where it's from. Both the veggies and the meats, you can find out where they're from. They don't allow genetically modified foods here in France. If they say it's organic or bio, B-I-O, bio, but it's pronounced bio. If they say it's bio, it's very strictly regulated what they can call bio. So if they call it bio or organic, you know that there are certain rules that have applied. It's not just a name that they tagged onto it. So we're very pleased with the food that we can get here in France. We enjoy it tremendously. Kathy cooks dinner every night, particularly now with COVID and we're locked down and we can't go to a restaurant. So it's wonderful to be able to taste things the way they're supposed to taste, cook them the way they're supposed to taste, being careful and respectful of the ingredients and getting a fine meal out of it. Now, I've just talked about the grocery shopping here in France, and I'm going to add just one more thing about grocery shopping, and that is that there are all levels of groceries. You can go into a supermarket, a hypermarket that's as big as any Walmart in the United States. Lots and lots and lots of food choices, international food choices, a butcher counter besides a pre-wrapped meat counter, and clothes and kitchen items and refrigerators and computers and everything under one roof. Big hypermarkets, Carrefour, E. Leclerc, Giant, and Casino, and others. Then there are the local stores, the smaller stores. Sometimes those are sort of subsidiaries of the big ones. Sometimes they're standalone. We have two small stores very close to us. They are supermarkets, but they're smaller than those hypermarkets, Intermarché and Lidl. You may be familiar with Lidl. There's also an Aldi not far from us, but we'd like the Lidl better. Then there are the little neighborhood stores. Again, sometimes they're sort of quick stops that are associated with the big supermarkets, and those are in the smaller villages. And we have, our little village of 1,500 has a small casino where you can get the basics. You could live at a casino, one of those little casinos, without the meats. But we have two butchers in town, and that's great too, having your own butcher. So the meat is locally sourced as well. And finally, there are the open air markets. Many villages, particularly the larger ones, have large open air markets once or twice a week where you can buy anything from straw baskets and clothing and baseball caps to all sorts of fruits, veggies, meats, and cheeses. I'm going to talk about restaurants in a different video. I'm going to talk about wine in a different video, but that's what I have to say about the food in France, sort of grocery shopping in France. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. You know the deal. My name is Ira. I call myself the South France American. That's my blog, SouthFranceAmerican.com. So you can go to my blog and see perhaps more detailed discussions of some other aspects of life in France. Have a good day.